Hello and good day everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this is Sir Marcy. For today's video, I am going to discuss Venn diagram. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated with my latest videos. The objectives of our lesson for today is that the students should be able to, letter A, define what is Venn diagram, and letter B, illustrate operations on sets using Venn diagram. Alright, before we proceed with our lesson, let's have some activity first. So we're going to recall our lesson about operations on sets. Suppose we have here the universal set which contains the element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We also have set A which contains the element 1, 3, 5. For set B, we have the elements 3, 4, 5, and 7. And set C, we have here 2, 4, and 6. So we're going to find the following using the operations on sets, and here are the choices. I'm going to give you only 30 seconds to answer this activity. And timer starts now. Let's now reveal the answers. For number 1, A prime or A complement, the answer is letter G. For number 2, we have B prime or B complement, the answer here is letter H. For number 3, we have C prime or that is C complement, the answer is letter A. Number 4, we have A union B, the answer is B. Number 5, we have A union C. The answer is letter E. Number 6, B union C. The answer here is letter D. Then we have number 7, A intersection C. The answer is letter F. And lastly, for number 8, A intersection B. The answer is letter C. I hope you still remember how to solve this because we are going to apply our lesson on operation on sets in Venn diagram. Let's now proceed with our lesson. The topic that I'm going to discuss is all about Venn diagram. Venn diagrams are very useful in showing the relationship between sets. It consists of the following: a rectangle to represent the universal set, and a circle to represent the set or sets under consideration. Are you ready to learn more about how to represent sets in Venn diagram? Then let's go! Okay, let's now represent our activity in Venn diagram. So given again our universal set which composed of the elements 1, 2 up to number 7, and set A which composed of the elements 1, 3, 5. Set B, we have the elements 3, 4, 5, 7, and set C, we have 2, 4, 6 as the element. So let's say we are going to solve for A prime and B prime. Okay, so for A prime, first is we list the elements in the universal set, and we have our set A which contains the element 1, 3, 5. So if you remember how to get A prime, we simply cross out the elements found in these two sets. Okay, or simply cross out the common elements between these two sets. So that's 1, 3, and 5. So what is left in the universal set are the elements 2, 4, 6, and 7. So we'll write it here, and that is our A complement or A prime. Now, we'll try to represent A prime in terms of Venn diagram. First, if you remember, the universal set, it is represented by a rectangle, and a set is represented by a circle. So, if you notice, our set A contains the element 1, 3, 5. And the elements in the universal set, which is not in A, are as follows: 2, 4, 6, and 7. If we're going to represent A prime, we just simply highlight the elements 2, 4, 6, and 7. Okay? So this is how you represent a complement in terms of Venn diagram. Now let's try to answer number 2. That is B prime. So we write again the elements of the universal set and our set B, which contains the element 3, 4, 5, and 7. Now, if we're going to get B prime, so we simply cross out the common element between these two. So we have 3, 4, 5, and 7. So what is left in the universal set are the elements 1, 2, 6, and that is our B complement. So if we represent it in Venn diagram, we have the universal set, which composed of the elements 1 to 7, and our set B, which composed of the element 3, 4, 5, and 7. So 1, 2, 6 are elements in the universal set but is not in set B. So 1, 2, and 6. If we will represent B prime in our universal set or in our Venn diagram, we again simply highlight the elements 1 to 6, which is outside the elements of set B. Now, we'll proceed with problem number 4. That is A union B. So our A composed of the element 1, 3, 5, and our B composed of the element 3, 4, 5, and 7. Remember, if that is A union B, we're going to combine the elements with the elements of set A and set B. So our answer here would be, okay, so we have first, or we're going to write first the common elements here. So 3 and 5 are the common elements between set A and set B. Then for set A, we only have 1, and for set B, we have 4 and 7. If we're going to get A union B, so just like what I've said, we're going to get all the elements both in A and B. So that is 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So that's how you represent A union B. Take note that 2 and 6 are not included in our answer, since 2 and 6 are not in the elements A and B. Now let's proceed with number 5, A union C. We have A, which contains the element 1, 3, 5, and C, which contains the element 2, 4, 6. So if we're going to get A union C, the answer here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if we will place it in Venn diagram, we have the universal set and set A and set C. Notice that these two sets have no common element, okay? So there's no common element between these two, that's why it is separated, okay? So we have set A, which contains the element 1, 3, 5, and set B, which contains the element 2, 4, 6. Notice that there is also an element that is not found in both sets. So that is why we will place 7 outside of the sets. If we're going to get A union B, just like what I've said, we're going to get the elements, all the elements in both sets. So that's A and C. So we just simply highlight 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. So that's how you represent A union C, wherein there's no common element between these two. Unlike in our previous example, we write first the common elements and then we write all the elements found in these two sets. Okay? Next, we have A intersection C. Remember A intersection C, that is the common element between the two sets. So, we have set A, which contains the element 1, 3, 5, and set C, which contains the element 2, 4, and 6. If we're going to get A intersection C, notice that there's no common element. That is why our answer here is an empty set or null set. Okay? If we will represent, again, the answer in Venn diagram, we just simply write it this way. Okay? Since there's no common element, so we're not going to shade anything. Okay? And for number 8. Okay, for number 8, if we're going to get A intersection B, so reminder class, intersection, there is common element between these two sets. So we list again set A, that is 1, 3, and 5, and set B, which contains the element 3, 4, 5, and 7. So to get A intersection B, so notice that there's common between the two. So set A, we have 3 and 5. So these are the common element found in these two sets. And for set A, what is left is 1. For set B, we have 4 and 7. Also notice that we have 2 and 6. So these elements are not in both sets, but it is in the universal set. So to get A intersection B, our answer here will be 3 and 5. Okay? Because again, by definition, intersection means common element between these two sets. So if we will represent it in the diagram, we simply highlight elements 3 and 5. Okay? So that's how you represent elements in Venn diagram. Now, what I want you to do is to answer this simple activity. Okay? And please upload it in your Google Classroom. Okay? So that will end our session today. I hope you learned something new and see you soon next time. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated with my latest videos. Goodbye!